Hello out there in internet land. This is episode 12 of the Stop the Damn Match Wrestling podcast. I'm your host, Phil Lamington. Seated to my left is a man who, he was happy because his wife and his ex-girlfriend both had matches on the card tonight. JB, how are you, JB, my friend?
Fantastic. Absolutely beaming.
Cool.
Yeah. Good.
And seated to my right is a man who was happy because he got to watch the greatest wrestler of all time perform his most poetic performance in a Money in the Bank ladder match in Omos. It's Dr. Sheamus. How are you?
Not bad. Freezing my nuts off, but not bad.
Yeah, it's a little bit frosty, but apparently it's going to warm up tomorrow.
Yeah, this rain's finally going to go away.
Yay!
Thank God for that.
It's like Britain weather. It's terrible.
Yeah, it's not quite up there with Britain food or Britain people teeth.
At least my beer's still cold.
Our web designer at work is from the UK, and she's like, "Oh, this feels the exact same." It's like I never left home.
I can't tell the difference.
Right, so we just finished watching WWE Money in the Bank 2022.
Money, money, money.
Money.
And it was a mixed bag pay-per-view for me, if I'm honest.
Yeah, it didn't. Some parts were good. Some parts were meh.
Can agree.
Yeah.
I think, and I do have to address this first, is that Shay and I have watched Forbidden Door. We're just waiting for JB here to catch up, so then we can record the podcast for that.
I can't wait.
Yeah.
That felt like an infinitely better show. But the real one advantage that this pay-per-view had was that it was an hour fucking shorter.
Yeah.
Because 4 hours really does sort of drag, particularly when you're old like me and, you know...
He's just old and cranky, don't worry about him.
Yeah, you get to a certain point where, you know, you're like... I'm a bit past my bedtime, or you know, I'm missing the bill for this, or you know, that type of thing. But no, this was 3 hours. It was spot on time wise. But as you'll see over the course of the reviews, the match quality was not quite there.
It was 3 hours, but was it 3 hours well spent? Let's find out.
So we're going to open the pay-per-view with the women's Money in the Bank ladder match. This was between Raquel Gonzalez, Becky Lynch, Asuka, Alexa Bliss, Liv Morgan, Shotzi, formerly known as Shotzi Blackheart, and Lacey Evans. Now...
Surprised it's not Lacey yet.
Yeah, I'm surprised it's not Evans. Or Lacey. Yeah. I will discuss her in a few minutes, trust me. Look, it was an interesting match. Like, there was plenty of drama to it. I did notice there was a lot of botches in this. And I mean, I know with a ladder match, like, there is room for botches to happen. But there was a lot of botches in this match.
Yeah, there were a lot of little things going wrong. And
a couple of big things.
yeah, that was very noticeable.
Shotzi did, I think she was power bombed, or no, she tried doing a seated senton off the top rope onto Becky Lynch, and Becky Lynch rolled the other way, and she smashed the back of her head against the ladder, which actually caused her to bleed, but they managed not to show it until we saw the after effects.
Now I'm going to go on a little bit of a small rant here. Please just show blood, WWE. People bust their mouths open, you show it. Just show it. AEW do it, and it adds to the match. Bring it back. Like, nobody is going to hammer you for it. Yes, your audience is designed for the younger people, but a little bit of blood never hurt anyone. They scrape their knees, they see blood. It's not like they don't know what the fuck it is.
Yeah.
I mean, geez, especially if it's like accidental like that, just lean into it. You've seen Orton get busted open legit by fucking Brock Lesnar. Why can't you allow that now.
Well, I mean, they keep showing highlights of like Stone Cold versus Bret Hart from WrestleMania 13.
As in black and white.
Yeah, but I mean, everyone knows it's blood.
Yeah,
It's blood.
exactly.
Don't black and white the footage. Just show us. You know, what year do we live in again?
Exactly
20
right.
fucking 22.
Anyway.
One thing
I don't know if that's like a statement to stand by. I mean, we're in the snowflake generation now, so, you know, I think it was more impressive the fact that we didn't know she was busted open at all until we went back to her.
And there's
Yeah.
like smeared
Like-
blood everywhere. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, like we didn't actually genuinely know she was bleeding until they went back to her. So I think it was a pretty good job done by the camera people and the doctors to get her cleaned up that quick.
Wait, the camera guys
Mid-match.
actually did a good job. Holy shit.
Or the
Shit.
director for not pointing a fucking camera at her.
Oh, Kevin Dunn. Oh,
Ugh.
don't give him credit. Don't. Just don't. Just don't. For the love of God, don't. I mean, fuck's sake, I'd rather if they got Michael Bay in to direct the shit.
Just CGI explosions for no
More
reason.
explosions.
Just explosions
Just
and
wah,
just
wah,
women. Every
wah.
time a woman bends over, the camera's right up there. Yeah. I will say this. Liv Morgan's punches and kicks look really fucking weak.
Yes.
Like they look.
The match-winning kick on the ladder, aside from the fact that she missed the kick, but the slaps that like knocked Becky Lynch off the ladder was so fucking weak.
Yeah.
Like they look. Oh man, yeah. I know the male wrestlers pull their punches, but when a chick like pulls her punches as badly as she does, it looks really bad.
And especially because the camera angles weren't that great too. Like there's some really obvious shots in later matches that you can see.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, there was obvious shots in this one
And this
where
one too, yeah.
Becky Lynch was hitting someone, and it's missing by a country mile. I mean, God, I haven't seen a gap that big since the last time I watched a Van Damme movie in slow motion. You know, it's bloody awful. But Liv Morgan climbed up the ladder and retrieved the Money in the Bank briefcase, being the women's 2022 Money in the Bank briefcase winner. Despite its flaws, I still gave it a 3 out of 5. I thought it was a really good, solid opener for the show, and it still had plenty of drama and plenty of interest with it, and noisy cars going by, and I did actually enjoy the match. Seamus, we'll go with you. What did you think?
Yeah, I quite enjoyed the match. It was a good opening match. Wasn't the best Money in the Bank. Definitely not the best female Money in the Bank. That goes to the 2021.
Oh, that was, yeah, just
But yeah, it was still quite entertaining. A bit more botches than I'd like, but still pretty nice. I give it a 3 as well.
JB.
Yeah, I think I gave it a 2.5. It held my attention a lot better than most Divas matches does these days.
But it didn't include Natty, so you took off her.
Yeah, I had to knock it, but it did have Alexa Bliss.
It did.
So, you know, it was there. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think the botches were a distraction, but they were more obvious than usual, I think. Just because of this type of match, it sort of needs to be executed with a bit more precision than the women sort of were able to do, especially the ending kick by Liv Morgan, considering that's the go-home move to retrieve the briefcase. You know, the side angle, you know, really didn't do her any justice on the kick, but it was a pretty good match. It held my interest a lot better than majority of women's matches do these days. So yeah, 2.5.
I think the most noticeable botch for me was Shotzi trying to lift Alexa Bliss. And Alexa Bliss was trying to grab onto the ladder. Instead of grabbing the ladder, she knocked over the ladder, and then Shotzi just collapsed and Alexi smacked onto the ladder. But apparently Shotzi was pissed backstage with the amount of botches in the match, so...
Including her own. Actually,
yeah.
no. It wasn't her own for that. That was because whoever she was landing on was in the wrong spot.
Yeah. She was going for Becky Lynch with her senton.
Yeah, I think Becky was out of position.
Becky moved.
Was she supposed to move?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's just an accident, man. I mean, you're flying around.
Yeah, and that's easy enough to do. And
She might have just
fine.
overshot. Or
We've seen-
undershot the ladder.
We've seen plenty of injuries in ladder matches, mate. Like, they're not
Yeah.
the easiest match type to deal with.
a couple of stitches, she'll be right.
Yeah. She kept going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At least she didn't, try to break a tailbone like Jeff did.
Or explode her face like
Matt Hardy.
I know, that
Yeah.
was
That was Joey Mercury.
Joey Mercury.
by Matt Hardy.
Yes.
Yeah, that was brutal.
Right, so we're moving on to the next match, which was for the United States Championship between champion Theory versus Bobby Lashley.
Booby.
For me, this was a boring match. It was boring. They looked like they lacked chemistry. And I'm going to say something here. Theory is just a dull fucking character. Like, I think during the show, Sheamus actually said that Theory was like a cheap knockoff of Sammy Guevara.
Agreed, yep.
And I think that hits it right on the head. He lacks charisma.
Yeah, he's trying to play the, up himself heel who has a lot of powerful friends, but he doesn't have, the kind of snarky attitude that, like, Semi has. And Semi has his own, vlog to kind of back that up, and he keeps, sort of in character when he's doing that too, which kind of adds to it.
Theory at the moment, Theory's push kind of reminds me of Drew McIntyre back in 2009.
Yeah, his first push.
When it was too fucking soon.
Yeah, and it feels too soon for Theory.
It's too fucking soon for Theory. Yeah.
It needs to be someone who's established.
Shinsuke.
And, like if they brought up Bron Breakker, that would work. Or if they brought up Cameron Grimes. To the moon.
Actually, that'll be a really good one. I wouldn't mind seeing that, but we'll bring up, what's his name? Ural.
Max Dupree.
LA Knight.
And
LA Knight.
not ruin his fucking character.
Too late.
Oh, too late.
Too late.
Here's what LA Knight has to say about Vince McMahon's creative plans by turning him into Max Dupree. Dummy, yeah. Yeah. You brought him up. You thought he was going to be great. Well, nah. You couldn't get the job done. I like LA Knight. I don't like Max Dupree. This stupid gimmick. I feel sorry for Marseille and Mansoir. Because they're going to get future endeavored for us. You can say, fuck, I've been future endeavored.
Sounds like Rico and fucking Billy Chuck Palumbo.
Oh, Chuck and Billy and Rico. And then Rico ends up with 3-minute warning.
At least Rico stayed in. And the thing about Rico is he could actually wrestle.
Yeah, but he looked like a Goomba. Finally, at the end of the match, because it was a boring match and I just wanted the fucking thing over, Lashley locked in the Hurt Lock on the Theory. Theory passed, tapped out via submission. And Bobby Lashley is the new United States champion. JB, we'll start with you before I give a score. What did you think?
This match went a lot longer than I thought it was going to, considering that Theory was booked for a later match, although no one knew it at the time. I actually thought it was alright. I gave it 2.5 out of 5. I actually thought it was an alright match. It did lack a little bit of chemistry, but it showed that, showed all of Bobby Lashley's good sides. He's a lot of strength, a lot of power. It showed, it was bread and butter Bobby Lashley, really. And, Theory.
Bread and butter Bobby.
Yeah, bread and butter Bobby. And for the most part, I think...
Don't give Vince ideas with a gimmick, man. He'll do it.
He will. And, Theory held his own for the most part. I thought it was alright, 2.5.
Shay?
I'll give it a 2. It was quite dull. It was probably one of the more boring matches of the night. But we'll get there to the most boring one.
Well, I gave it 1.5 out of 5. I was just like, get this shit over and done with. But then we get to the next match. Oh, God. For the Raw Women's Championship. The champion Bianca Belair versus Carmella. There was so much stalling in this match. Like, Carmella would roll out of the ring and sit there and play with her hair and do all manner of dumb shit. And you're like, are we having a wrestling match, or are you just going to sit here and pose all fucking day? Or then they'd get in the ring and Bianca Belair would do a flip and then sit there and pose, or make, kiss my ass routine or something. It's just like, can we have a match? Do you not have the ability to have a match? Which then leads me to my next question. As a point that I wrote this down. What is Carmella doing in a ring to begin with? Are you like, the girl can't wrestle. She reminds me of like watching Stacy Keibler and bloody there's that other one like Stacy Keibler that came over from WCW.
Tori
Wilson.
Hey, at least Stacey was good to look at.
At least they were nice to look at.
And like later on divas like Oksana, who they fit exactly into John Laryngitis's formula.
Yeah, but the divas back then at least could have jelly wrestling matches and lingerie matches to make up for the fact that they can't wrestle. They can't do that these days. They can't do that these days. There's no hiding. Carmella would be perfect for a fucking lingerie match. To cover up the fact that she can't wrestle, but we can't do that no more.
HLA.
Eventually, Bianca Belair hits the KOD and puts us out of goddamn misery of this match by winning via pinfall and retaining the Raw Women's title. Shay, what did you think of the match?
I'll give this one a 1. This was the most boring match of the entire night. I wish I had to go pee at that time, but I didn't.
Because we had to watch it for this review.
Yep, I voted to skip it because I knew it was going to be trash, but we endured.
But we're professional.
Yeah, we're professionals.
We're professionals.
We endure the pain, so you don't have to.
JB.
I was booking my car in for a service during this. My car is due for a service, so that's what I did.
So what score? Are you going to give it a 0?
I'm going to give it a 0.5.
Maybe someone should have booked this match in for a service because it fucking needed one.
Well, has Bianca Belair gotten worse? I think the opponent she's been given gotten worse.
She's just got no.
I think Carmella didn't make her look good, but her promos suck, and
it did.
The wave of momentum she had when she initially won the women's championship was fucking massive, and now that's all gone, and now she's just making these trashy promos with her annoying voice, and the fucking limp fish that she's been handed to wrestle with fucking makes her look like shit.
The problem about this match is Carmella was a fill-in for
Rhea
Ripley, who's injured.
That would have been a way better match.
Yeah. Like way better.
Yeah.
So I do kind of feel for that because they didn't really have too much time to work with this.
I don't know. They've got 8 hours to assemble a match.
Yeah, just ask them.
And they picked the worst person to fill in.
And you had to listen to Corey Graves sit there and go, Carmella, look, we know you're together.
Carmella's my fucking wife.
P.S.
Your ex-wife was hotter.
Yeah. Your ex-wife was hotter, Corey Graves. Shut your dick licker.
Yeah, you downgraded.
Yeah.
And the only one who can't see that is you.
Actually, I'll give it... I was going to give it 0.5, but I gave it an extra 0.5 only because of... the commentators during this match. There was one good line that Corey said he was going to renew his vow. He might renew his vows with Carmella, and then one of the other commentators piped in, And then Corey piped in. I know Triple H told me about a good spot down the road, which is actually a throwback to him and Steph.
Yep. Well, I gave it -2 out of 5.
Damn.
You can't go minus.
Yes, I can.
No, you can't.
Yes,
Hey,
I can.
Meltzer can
You
give
can't.
-5 stars, so
You can
Yeah.
get negative. Fuck, you can't go negative.
Yeah, -2.
Well, fucking hell.
Yeah.
There's been worse matches than that.
Yeah, but that was just abysmal. That was abysmal.
Well, 0.5 is the lowest rating I've given on this podcast, so...
Omos had the
we,
better
we,
match.
We've gone -4.
We have.
Yeah, we have.
And I'm pretty
I
sure
think-
that also included Carmelo.
No, that included
Oh, that was
Omos.
Omos.
How dare you?
Oh, that was just an abysmal pile of crap.
Give me Omos versus Goldberg.
In a last man standing match.
My
That's a lot of
penis,
meat.
my penis can only get so erect, boys.
Right.
Don't be throwing out dream matches here.
Natty versus Lexa.
That's a wet dream match.
That's a wet dream
Johnny,
match.
Johnny's hard on a pole match.
Vince Russo books it as Viagra on a pole.
Wedding ring on a pole match. Go get your sparkly ring, girls. No, the ring's the other way. That way. That way.
There's 2 rings. Everyone gets a win.
Here comes the Johnny.
Here we go. Here comes the Johnny. All right, the next match was for the Unified Tag Team Championship between the Usos and the Street Profits. So my notes here, Montez does a lot of the suck it pose.
He did, actually.
He did do a lot of the suck it pose. Was there a reason for that?
I think Trips was there.
Yeah.
Yeah, who knows what the... Yeah, Trips was out back.
Yeah, he was out the back because they went to the
They had that big
MMA
meeting.
after.
They had the big meeting before the show.
Yeah, and then they went to the MMA after that too.
Yeah.
For the... This was a match of 2 halves for me.
Mm.
The first half was really fucking slow. Like, I was expecting more from these guys. Particularly we've seen them wrestle before, and they step on the gas, like, really quickly. And this was just a slog for the first 10 minutes. It really just staggered along like a drunk.
I'm pretty sure this is the longest match of the night.
Sure as hell felt like it.
It fucking dragged. It was probably as long, if not longer, than the women's ladder match.
Mm.
Yeah.
Like, it was a long match for what it was.
But then eventually it picked up when Dawkins. I had to reread that. Like, I've got his name, Dawkins, but I was sitting here thinking Dawkins, like he's a dork. Dawkins. Dawkins picked up the pace and was flipping around like a madman.
Guy moves quickly for his size.
The big spot, though, was Montez flipping over the turnbuckle, over the post, onto the Usos who were on the floor outside the ring. That was impressive as hell.
That was badass, man. He got some fucking height on that.
They even cleared that by quite a bit.
Yeah. But eventually the Usos hit the 1D.
Why is it called the 1D?
It's a 3D, but 1D for day one.
Yeah, day one.
Okay.
Because the Usos just lack anything catchable other than saying "oos" 500 times in a promo. I can't even understand what the fuck they're saying half
Well,
the
the
time.
only thing's catchable is DOI offences.
Hey, they get title shots for that, man.
Yeah, well, one of them's Mrs. walks out.
Yeah.
But they hit the 1D, and then they get the pinfall in the win and retain the championships. I think they've had better matches. I think that if they'd shaved 10 minutes off that match and just got to the good stuff, it would have gotten a very bit of a higher score than what I'm about to give it. I gave it 2.5 out of 5. Shay, what do you think?
It was a pretty solid match. As you said, a match of two halves. The first half was quite slow. I think that was more of the Usos' pace. But the last half definitely sped things up. And that's what I would rather the whole match have been. Dawkins just being super quick and agile for his size. And then, what was the other Dawkins? Montez, thank you. Montez being an absolute madman with his jumps. He reminds me of Shelton Benjamin, like a lot. Super athletic, can do flips very well, and he's pretty entertaining. Like he's a super entertaining to watch. I love watching him wrestle. I'll give it a 3, maybe 3.5. They've had better matches, definitely, but the second half is what the whole match should have been, for sure.
Yeah. JB?
Maybe this card needed another match or two on it. Because there's 3 matches in a row that really fucking dragged in spots for no reason. Like they were trying to make the 3-hour time limit. And they only just made it. I think, yeah, because they're scheduled for 3 hours on pay-per-view. And they only just cracked the 3-hour mark. Like, which all 3 of these matches had pacing issues. Like real bad pacing issues. Which makes me think maybe they needed to add another match or two to get things moving. I really like this match a lot, actually. I thought it was great, especially the second half. My only problem is the fucking near falls, like, are so overused nowadays. Like the almost 3 counts. I lost count how many there was in this match. There was easily over maybe half a dozen.
Like a false finish.
Yeah, like a false finish, like.
And it actually was a false finish too on this one.
It was. The first few of them were dramatic, and then it was frustrating. I think it was less drama and more just sheer frustration that the match is still fucking going, considering how long this match was. But you could tell these guys have been in the ring with each other enough, to have some form of chemistry now. Because this match was really good, the second half of it. I'm going to give it I was going to give it a 4. I'm going to bump it down to 3.5 because of the false finish shit. I think there was too much of it, and it was more frustrating and tedious to me by the end. I just sort of wanted to see a pinfall, rightly or wrongly.
I'll give it to WWE. At least there was no like roll-up finishes and shit like that. I'll give them to them. There was pretty much non-existent on it. Maybe because 2 of the matches were Money in the Bank matches, but this was the only kind of like dicky finish because they had Montez's fault. His elbow was up.
See, the thing is, the reason why I've marked it down as a 2.5, and I do like the intrigue of the finish where Montez's shoulder was actually up when it was counted 3, which means that they'll get a rematch at SummerSlam. But when you watch something like the 3-way dance from Forbidden Door that FTR
oh my god
won, you sit there and you think you're spoiled. Like you're spoiled. And I mean, I'm not a fan of the Young Bucks because I think that they don't know how to tell a story in the ring. They just hit moves for the sake of hitting moves and do flippy dippy shit and carry on like clowns. But you watch something like this where it's slow and plodding for 10 minutes at least, and you're just sitting there going, it better kick into gear sometime soon or else I'm just going to skip this shit. It shows like there's a big difference between one company caring about tag team wrestling and one company sitting there going, well, we have to do this because meh. Yeah, and the simple fact is we've seen the Usos versus the Street Profits so many times. We've seen the Usos versus the New Day so many times.
That's like the only 3 tag teams they have left.
And I mean, now
that's all they've got. Is there a tag team outside of the Usos, the Street Profits, and the New Day that would
Alpha Academy?
That would legitimately, you would legitimately be okay with them being champions?
The
okay, bro.
No,
Yeah, okay,
okay, bro.
Probably the only other ones.
Or
But
the Viking Raiders.
Yes, who's just recently come back as heels. Thank fuck.
Right, so you've probably got 5 tag teams then.
I think that highlights an issue that WWE has. I mean, FTR were a great tag team. And as they said in their promo at Forbidden Door, a year ago we were shaving each other's backs. And now they're currently the Ring of Honor Tag Team Champions. Which they were going into Forbidden Door, so that's not a spoiler or anything. FTR, they let go of Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly.
Red Dragon.
Yeah. There's a few tag teams, and you could say the same for the women's division in WWE. They've let go or let people leave that could have been main event players for their respective divisions.
Ember Moon,
Toni Storm. Even though Toni Storm, I understand why she walked. Because I watched a couple of interviews with her, and Toni Storm was like, I could either be sitting in catering or I've got to sit there and play politics in order to get a shot.
Yeah, which shouldn't be like that.
And she's like, I didn't want to be there. I'm a wrestler, not a sports entertainer. And she had the guts to go up to Vince or whoever and say, I don't want to be here. I'm taking the spot of someone who does want to be here. I'm leaving. Give someone else a shot.
Hmm.
And that's why they let her go. They were like, thank you for being honest. And, yep, we'll grant you your release because you're being honest. Thank you, bye. Not chucking a wobbly and walking out on a show that people have paid for and dropping the tag belts because I don't get what I want. Where. And it's twice now Sasha Banks has done this. So my thoughts on Sasha Banks are, you want to go? Fine, fuck off. I hope no one else touches you. You're just as toxic as Tessa Blanchard.
Ooh. At least she didn't drop him in the trash, but she pretty much did, if you think about it.
Yeah. I have more respect for Alundra Blaze dropping the WWF Women's title in the trash than what Sasha Banks has done. Right, moving right along. We get to the SmackDown Women's Championship, which was between the champion Ronda Rousey versus Natalya. Someone really liked this match, didn't they, JB?
Yes.
Right, so
He had his two big, googly eyes on.
he wasn't making he wasn't booking his car in for this one.
He was looking at some headlights, that's for sure.
He was the deer in headlights. I think these two had really great chemistry. The match right from the kickoff really picked up where the last match ended, where it had a lot of action and it was go and go and go and go. Natalya might want to not yell out the spots so loud.
You talk too much.
Like, she was yelling at... I think at one point she had Ronda in a
abdominal stretch.
Abdominal stretch. I was going to say octopus. Abdominal stretch.
It's the same move.
And you could hear as like Ronda was about to get up and she's gone, sit down. So she stayed. And then she was about to do something and she's gone, sell. So it's like, like, okay, female John Cena. Just call it a bit louder so everyone can hear it. Eventually, Ronda Rousey locked in the sharpshooter and did the HBK pose as she did so. And then eventually Natalya herself locked in the sharpshooter on the apron. Yeah, the hardest part of the ring.
God damn it.
And Ronda countered that by throwing Natalya into the ring post. And then they got back in the ring and started a group of chain wrestling where Ronda went from the ankle lock into Natalya putting the sharpshooter back on. And then
armbar
counted into a standing armbar. And Ronda Rousey made Natalya tap to the standing armbar, which means that Ronda Rousey retains the SmackDown Women's Championship by submission. JB, what did you think of the match?
I was completely engrossed from start to finish. I couldn't take my eyes off the screen.
Engrossed or engorged?
Fun of both.
Just couldn't take my eyes off the screen. I just think it was just brilliant storytelling. Great use of physical dexterity from both women. But no, seriously, I thought it was a great match. I think it's about time Natalya got back into the main event fold. You know, she's worked hard. She's lost a lot of weight. She's looking in really good shape at the moment. And, you know, Ronda was a good foil to bring out the best in her. You know, and yeah, it was a good match. It was a good match.
What do you give it out of 5?
5.
You can give it 6 if you want.
Does it get an extra 2 points thanks to...
No, it's got the. I would have given it a 3 any other day. It's got the extra 2 points, thanks to Natalya's 2 points.
Sexism here on the Stop the Damn Rest. Stop the
Shameless.
Damn Match.
Shameless.
Speaking of shameless,
God
Sheamus.
Damn it. I was very skeptical going into this match. I knew Natty could wrestle. Ronda is very hit and miss. However, tonight, they were actually quite good. There was a lot of technical wrestling and chain submissions, which was really refreshing to see in a women's match. Don't see too many of them these days. Natty's really was the only person that, you know, pulled out the big submission moves. But it was kind of cool seeing these girls out there doing their thing like that. I actually enjoyed this more than the women's Money in the Bank match. I'll give it a 4.
Yeah, I gave it a 3.5. They lost half a point off me when Natty starts calling out the spots rather loudly. Yeah,
She's just been a ring general.
That's very amateur. But then straight after that, Liv Morgan cashes in Money in the Bank on Ronda Rousey, which started off with her being put into the ankle lock, and then Liv Morgan kicked her off, got the quick roll-up, got the 1, 2, 3, and now Liv Morgan is the new SmackDown Women's Champion. I'm not even going to bother giving her a score because
That's not a match.
it's not really a match, but
It was a roll-up. She didn't even hit a finisher. Hit a fucking finisher.
what is Liv
Yeah, what is
Morgan's
her finisher?
I don't even know what a finisher is. Unless her finisher is a roll-up pin.
Yeah, but that's half the WWE roster has got the roll-up pin as the finisher.
I remember on Raw too, that was a legitimate finisher, was the roll-up pin.
Yeah, well, it's a legitimate finisher in real life now.
Well, it must be Liv Morgan's finisher, must be the roll-up pin. Because, fuck, you didn't even hit a finisher. You're like,
I think
you
she
literally...
she actually does have a finisher that's called You Only Live Once.
Yeah.
But
Wait, what? Liv Morgan's finisher is the Kirifuda clutch.
right.
Wow. Well, she didn't have the Kirifuda clutch.
Yeah, maybe she should have locked that in.
Yeah, because she got put in an ankle lock and then she just
she
rolled.
cashed in Money in the Bank, which immediately means she gets a finisher icon to use
Yeah.
during the match.
Oblivion.
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 What is that?
The Kirifuda clutch.
Okay.
I think she used that once. It's just Google being shit.
Oh, right again.
Congratulations, women's champion Liv Morgan. We don't even know what your finisher is.
And Ronda Rousey gave her the title.
Welcome
And
to
walked
relevancy.
off, which I think is going to lead to a Ronda Rousey
Oh,
heel turn.
it's a flatliner.
Oh, okay. Awesome.
Congratulations, we now know what your finisher is. Welcome to relevancy, women's champion Liv Morgan.
I don't mind that name though. Oblivion's pretty cool.
That is pretty badass, actually.
Well, while we're here, I might as well ask this question. I mean, they've unified the World and Universal titles. They've unified the tag team titles. Do you think they should unify the women's titles?
Yeah, absolutely.
Have they unified it, though? It's not one belt. It's still 2 belts. They can still split the men's titles.
I have a feeling they're going to merge it into one soon.
I think they are going to split the belts up. because the television networks actually do want a title per show.
Yeah. You can't have, like, the Undisputed Championship like they had for those 2 years.
Well, I mean, when they had the Undisputed Championship back in 2002...
Which Chris Jericho was the first one?
Yeah.
Yeah. It made an actual real logistical problem for them because they were trying to figure out who's going to challenge for the title with 2 separate brands and 2 separate rosters. An absolute nightmare. So that's why they ended up having the world title on Raw, because they were trying to make Raw more into Nitro and SmackDown was going to be more WWE. So SmackDown got the WWE title. Raw got the World Heavyweight title.
Yeah, right. I miss the gold belt.
The big
too.
gold belt.
Yeah, I miss it.
Big old
Yeah.
Goldie.
Yeah, it's a lot better than the belts we've got now.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the one thing about wrestling that's... I mean, the product itself's changed a lot, but... God, the old title belts were fucking brilliant.
Yes.
Some of them.
The Eagle.
Most of them.
Yeah.
Give me the Eagle.
Yeah, the Winged Eagle belt was great. The big gold belt was great. Even the IC belt back then was great.
Even the WCW United States title.
Yeah.
That's the best looking US title.
Yeah.
No, fuck off. The Hardcore Championship is the best looking championship. Broken ass taped up.
Even like the WWE and WCW tag team titles were far better looking belts.
European.
Yeah.
Yeah, the European.
Even the WWE title, like the actual WWE Championship belt from like 2002, 2003,
Oh, the Undisputed.
where it was just gold and black, and it looked great.
Yeah, it was great.
It looked beautiful.
The spinner belt.
No.
John Cena ruined that, man. I didn't want the spinner US title though.
Actually,
That
the
looked
spinner
good.
US was cool.
The spinner WWE title I was never a fan of, but the spinner US title would look pretty badass.
But hey, it made him a shit ton of money.
Did.
They sold
Good-
so
good.
many of those things.
I mean, another really nice title belt was the Smoke and Skull belt.
Fucking Austin's
Yes.
belt, yes.
Yeah, that was gorgeous.
$1 million belt.
Yeah, that was cool. I didn't like the women's title belt that eventually got merged with the Divas title.
Yeah.
The Divas title looked cool, but that was
It was
it.
a butterfly.
Yeah, it was a
Alright.
pink butterfly.
It's
It looked
different.
alright.
Stupid.
It's different.
You know what it did? It cheapened the women's division.
It did.
Okay.
Yeah.
In what? But I mean, it took until the Divas Revolution for women's wrestling to get taken seriously anyway.
Yeah, that's right.
Because back then they were just Playboy supermodels that could play fight.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was.
Some of them could legitimately, like, Lita could wrestle and Trish Stratus could wrestle and Molly Holly could wrestle. There were a few that could genuinely.
Victoria.
Jackie.
Yeah. There were a few that could genuinely wrestle, but most of them were there for fucking. And
You know-
most of them did just Playboy shoots.
Oddly enough, though, like the WWE likes to talk up the women's revolution. If you really want to see where the women's revolution started, it started in TNA.
Yeah.
It started in TNA with Gail Kim, Awesome Kong, Sojourner Bolt. I don't know. I haven't slept with her. I don't know what her friggin' name is. Thanks, Scott Steiner.
Still think that Gal Kim match on that TNA pay-per-view is probably the best women's match I've ever seen, still to this day.
Oh, I mean, it was there was a match. I can't remember what TNA pay per view it was, but it started as a reverse. No, it was a battle royale until it got to the final two.
Then just have a normal match after that.
No, it turned into a ladder match.
Okay.
But because there was Vince Russo involved, it couldn't just be a straight ladder match. So they had a battle royale, and it came down to Hardcore Roxy and Gail Kim. The winner got a title shot against Awesome Kong. The loser got their head shaved. And Gail Kim won, so Hardcore Roxy had to get her head shaved on the show. And she had like a massive gash in the back of her head. Gail Kim is crying as like they're shaving her head because she was sitting there, this is so wrong. The crowd's chanting "Fire Russo," and Roxy's like, "It's okay. It's all right. I knew what I signed up for. It's okay. With this, she's still got claret pissing out of the back of her head while they're shaving it. And it was one of the best ladder matches I've seen women in.
Mm.
And then, you've got, I think it was Taylor Wilde, I think her name was. She was really good in the ring at Impact. And it was her versus Taryn Terrell in a hardcore match. It was really good. And it showed that Taryn Terrell was more than just a psychopath who used to torture her ex-husband, Drew McIntyre. But that's where the women's revolution was. Even like ODB. ODB was awesome in the ring. And she had a really out there character. And
That Balls Mahoney's fucking missus. Am I wrong?
True. But that's where the women's revolution was. And it was helped when Victoria jumped ship from WWE and went over. He had the beautiful people, Angelina Love and the other one, who was Bubba Ray Dudley's real life wife now. I can't remember her name.
I know you're talking about, but they pretty much had Cody Rhodes' gimmick before it was Cody Rhodes' gimmick.
Yeah. And they started the women's revolution. And then, if WWE wants to claim anything, it started in NXT with Charlotte,
Paige,
Becky, Sasha,
mm-hmm.
Bayley, and Natalya. Because Natalya went down to NXT and was having matches. And Emma.
Yep.
You can't leave out Tennille Dashwood. Like, she was really good in the ring, but then she got hurt on the main roster because she's Australian. Kind of like the Iconics. And also that they weren't very good in the ring, but yeah. My point being that NXT has done more for WWE than WWE wants to acknowledge.
Yep. Hopefully we'll see more of that thanks to Hunter being in charge. Hunter and Steph actually being in charge for real this time. For the moment.
We'll get to that soon. So the last match on the card. Oh, pardon me. The last match on the card is the men's Money in the Bank ladder match between Drew McIntyre, Sheamus, Madcap Moss, Riddle, Seth freaking Rollins, Sami Zayn. Theory got added into the match at the 11th hour. And the greatest catch-as-catch-can technical wrestler since Bret the Hitman Hart. The man, the myth, the legend, Omos.
Instant 5 stars. Sorry.
Instant 5-star match.
6 stars. 6 stars out of 5. 10 stars out of 5. We don't have to talk about what happened in the match. 10 stars out of 5. Fuck you, Dave Meltzer. No, I thought it was a really great, solid match. Omos actually carried his weight in this match, which surprised the shit out of me. Like, it wasn't just botch central from him.
He got the big show spots.
Yay!
Woo, he's good for something.
Sami Zayn took a really nasty powerbomb onto a ladder. That was a brutal spot. That felt very Shotzi-esque. Except he didn't get busted open, so that was a plus. Matt Riddle, or Riddle, I'm so used to call them by their proper names. Riddle landed the floating bro off the top of the ladder.
Yeah, that was pretty badass.
Riddle was doing the Hardy spots. Woo!
Omos got put through the commentary table by everyone.
Yeah, that was cool. That was a nice touch.
He got railroaded onto a table, onto the commentary table.
He got 6-man fucking power slammed through the commentary box table.
Triple powerbomb? Nah. 6-man powerbomb.
Yeah.
It was nice to see they didn't do the pyramid spot. Like on Forbidden Door, I think there was 3 pyramid spots in 3 consecutive matches.
But they're all somewhat different, though.
What? They're all pyramid.
They're all still
spots.
pyramid spots.
Yeah.
They are, but they're all
I think they're called Tower of Doom, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're all semi-different, though. I'll give them that. At least they kind of spiced it up a bit.
Matt Riddle landed a super RKO off the ladder.
That was
with
fucking
Rollins.
clean, too.
Yeah.
Like, that was fucking clean.
But at the end of the day, Austin Theory got the Money in the Bank ladder match briefcase.
It's theory, pal.
It's just theory.
Theory, yeah. I'm going to give my score first. I gave it a 4 out of 5. I thought it was really great action. It didn't die off at any point. It was just constant. But it told a story. Everyone got their shtick in. There wasn't any botches. Like, everyone nailed their shtick, and there wasn't any fuck-ups.
Surprising with Omos is in a match.
Omos actually did all right. Like, he didn't fuck up, and he did his thing in the match. And I couldn't fault it, and it did something that was an issue for me with the last couple of AEW pay-per-views, including Forbidden Door, where the last hour of the pay-per-view sort of dropped off. This one, the last hour actually delivered. So, yeah, I was thoroughly entertained by the match and gave it a 4 out of 5. JB.
Yep, same. 4 out of 5. Great match. It was fast. It was action-packed. Everyone nailed their high spots, you know. Everybody loves a super RKO off the ladder. And yeah, Omos was at his effective best in this sort of match type. It didn't need him to be...
That was a very low bar.
Yeah, but he didn't need to be fucking, you know, technical. Super technical. You know, all he had to do was stand there with a ladder and bash people. So, you know, I think he thrived in the ladder match type. Ladder matches and Royal Rumbles is where he's going to thrive.
Absolutely.
Because he's just a big dude. He's a little bit slow. But, you know, he gets there. And Theory, you know, I guess, as a winner, you know, no one really wanted it. But then again, no one really expected it either. But I wonder what he's going to do, because there's no feasible way that Theory beats Roman Reigns or Brock Lesnar for the title unless he's going to be a run-in at SummerSlam after that last man standing match.
Yeah, pulls a Rollins.
Which is probably going to happen because it's pretty feasible.
Yep, and then he's an interim champion.
And then he loses the belts as soon as one of them are healthy.
Or to someone else.
Yeah. Yeah.
A returning John Cena.
Well, he's at SummerSlam, isn't he?
There was a segment that for Cena's return that it was him in Theory, so I wouldn't put it past him to actually do that.
That would be pretty badass.
Even though they announced on Raw today that Austin Theory's going to be getting his rematch against Bobby Lashley for the US title at SummerSlam.
Maybe to make it even more unexpected, he does do it.
I reckon they're going to bring it forward a week. And then he will actually face John Cena at SummerSlam.
Hmm.
Yeah. But, Shay, what did you think of the match?
Definitely the most entertaining match of the night. Equally as entertaining as the
Tag match.
The tag match. Thank you. I lost myself there. But yeah, the almost surprisingly decent tonight. It was a nice surprise. Definitely, Riddle stole the show for that match. It's a spot machine, but he had nailed everything. You know, everywhere from the floating bro to the RK bro off the ladder. It was awesome to see. Theory being put in at the last second kind of left a bad taste in my mouth. However, I can see, as I said before, where they're leading with that. And if they do it, that is a pretty good option. I was very glad to see both of the Money in the Bank contracts go to people that haven't won it before and people that haven't really gotten a good run before. I mean, Theory's got a rocket ship up his ass, but it was good to see Liv, pull that off and then win the title in the same night.
Liv actually does really deserve a go.
Absolutely.
She's been so close. She's been on the cusp so many times.
Losing both of her tag team partners.
Yeah, and
Right Squad.
Yeah. She just deserves something. She deserves a reward.
Absolutely, for putting up with all that.
Because if they're not going to do anything with her, they need to do what they did with Mandy Rose and just send her back to NXT and push her to the moon there.
Mm.
So, you're saying, sorry?
Yeah, I'll give it a 4. Definitely agree with you guys on that score. That was a brilliant match. The men's Money in the Bank match always seems to provide.
It does.
It's one of my favorites.
It's not the best one we've seen, but
nah.
It was good. It was probably the match of the night.
Mm.
Closely followed by that tag match. But yeah, no, I enjoyed it.
All right. How many cheese graters out of 5 would you give the pay-per-view?
It's a pain in the ass because there was good matches, but the shit matches were really, really shit.
Yeah.
So I'm probably going to give it a 3 because it was kind of good but kind of bad.
JB?
Yeah, it's a recurring issue with WWE. The good matches are really fucking good and the bad matches are really fucking bad.
Yep.
I'm going to call it Parramatta Syndrome. Because our good matches are really fucking good and our bad matches are really fucking bad.
Just like this last week gone?
Yeah, man. Be sure to catch me on the Parramatta's podcast tomorrow night.
Shameless plug.
Shameless plug, again.
How many cheese graters you want to give it?
I'm going to give it 3. At least I know if I watch it back on the network, I can skip a few matches.
Well, I gave it a 2.5 out of 5. I thought it was
Middle of the road.
Middle of the road. For me, the positives of the pay-per-view were the men's Money in the Bank ladder match, the SmackDown women's title match, and oddly enough, I put the women's Money in the Bank ladder match as positives. The negatives was the US title match. Just was such a meh match. The Raw women's title match was one of the most abysmal piles of crap I've had to sit through. The tag titles, it could have been better if they'd hacked 10 minutes off the running time. And the other negative was during the women's Money in the Bank ladder match, there was too many botches. Maybe ambition exceeded their grasp or whatever, but yeah, it was good, but it could have been better if they just stuck to their strengths and not overreached. But before we were talking, what were we talking about before?
Triple H and Steph being judged.
That's right. So apparently, according to WrestleVotes and a few other sources, before Money in the Bank's the pay-per-view started, interim WWE CEO Stephanie McMahon and the guy who kind of runs the company, Nick Khan, the other Khan, and a returning Triple H.
And Shao Kahn.
Tony Khan.
Nick Khan and Tony Khan related.
No.
That's fucking such a
right?
That's what they should do for Forbidden Door next year.
Khan versus
AEW.
Khan.
Khan versus Khan.
Kodal Khan versus Shao Kahn versus Nick Khan versus Tony Khan.
In a battle of the cards.
Only
one
Khan to rule them all.
Only one Khan.
With special guest referee, Genghis Khan.
Fuck, I just dropped my book. Fuck it.
I'm doing it live.
Fuck it.
That can't only be one.
It's a queen. Burn. But yeah, they grabbed all the talent and brought them together. And Stephanie McMahon was saying, "Look, I'm in charge. We're in this together." and said that Triple H was back. So Triple H is back, and he's kind of the showrunner now while Vince McMahon's away, because the rest of the board of directors at WWE are investigating Vince McMahon and John Laurinaitis for apparently paying off some woman that Vince was having an affair with, and John Laurinaitis decided to get his
Talent, by the way.
talent. I thought she was a paralegal.
Nope, talent.
Oh, that's even worse.
Mm.
So yeah, he's had to temporarily step down. John Laurinaitis has been let go from the company.
Oh, did he actually get let go?
Yeah, he's not coming back.
Fuck yes. Yes.
Well, don't get your hopes up, because both Bruce Pritchard is now in charge of both creative and talent relations.
I mean, it's better than Johnny Ace, though.
Everyone backstage is like, oh god, it's gotten worse. Bruce
Wow.
Pritchard.
I knew Pritchard wasn't that
I
great.
heard Paul Heyman might be getting bumped up to creative.
That'd be cool to see.
Yeah.
But also, Bruce Pritchard's also in charge of creative for NXT.
Oh, dear God. Hopefully
Yeah.
Trips has something to say about that.
Well, the guy who's running NXT, he's kind of handcuffed because he still has to answer to Bruce Pritchard about creative. But I'm pretty sure HBK will find a way around it. You know what?
It's going to go super kick Stan.
I just kick Stan. See, I just kick Stan.
Might
That's
not be
such a-
controversial.
It's
That was-
been
God damn, is it entertaining.
That was great. That was such a great spot. I love that.
all I can think of when it comes.
What do you
to
mean I can't be controversial? I can be controversial. What's your name? Stan. Bam. I just super kicked Stan.
It's so good.
It was such a great spot.
That's actually a wrestler too, by the way. He got super kicked.
That was Sean Spears.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mr. Perfect 10 himself.
Yeah. Ty Dillinger.
Yep.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. If there was someone I'd like to see take over NXT, I'd actually like to see Bret Hart do it. Like, I think he'd be able to bring a pure wrestling back to NXT. But that said, like, apparently Triple H has got his little fingers back in NXT as well. So,
Good.
but the mandate from Vince McMahon is that NXT is not to turn back into what it used to be by hiring all these indie guys. Like, they're actually to hire people and train them to be wrestlers, so that they're making their own talent.
I think there's still room enough for indie guys. Just not a million of them.
Yeah, I think they need to bring Johnny Gargano back.
Yeah.
I think he's
I
a
don't
key.
think he will.
But I like Braun Breaker. He wrestles like his dad and he promos like his uncle. That for me sells tickets. I don't like what they've done to LA Knight though. What the
Yeah.
fuck? That's vomit inducing. Why would you take such a good guy on the microphone and turn him into a manager when he's a solid in-ring mechanic and he can cut a promo, and you turn him into a manager? It's kind of like what they wanted to do with Adam Cole, and Adam Cole's like, nah.
Fuck that.
Yeah,
I wonder.
no,
I wonder if he stepped on some fucking toes on the way up. Usually that's what happens, man. You fucking step on some toes on the way up, and you get the golden shovel.
Who? LA Knight.
Yeah, I mean, he was over. He was over, and they fucked him on the way up.
I think it's more that Vince McMahon doesn't watch NXT at all and just doesn't have a clue. He's just so stuck in 1984 with Hulk
The
Hogan.
best thing in the fucking world that could happen with this company is Triple H runs Raw and SmackDown, and then fucking Paul Heyman somehow becomes head of creative,
HBK is in
and
charge of NXT.
HBK runs NXT with the help of I don't know, get some main event guys to go down there and help them train.
You know who would actually be really helpful in creative while he's rehabbing his arm is Cody Rhodes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
He
100%.
is a
Yeah, imagine
creative
Cody
guy.
Rhodes. Cody Rhodes just goes down and helps out fucking HBK and NXT.
Yeah, just
And then
come
you
up
have
with-
Triple H and fucking Paul Heyman running
Get Taker
Raw
down
and
there.
SmackDown.
Taker should be down there working with the larger guys.
Absolutely.
Taker should be down there working with Omos.
Imagine
right
if
now.
Taker had fucking had 18 months with Omos.
Yeah,
Omos would be fucking... Imagine Omos doing fucking old school and diving over the ropes. And,
Taker wouldn't let him do them. Taker wouldn't let him do old school and his moveset purely because he's very traditional where it's got to be the right thing, but also he'd want Omos to find his own moveset.
yeah, it'd be cool.
I mean, fuck, even get Mick Foley in there.
Mick Foley's on the outs with WWE though.
Yeah. He said a
Because-
few things that he shouldn't probably have said on social media.
And his son no longer works in creative now too. He left the company. But yeah, I think if if Vince gets found guilty and has to permanently step down as the head of the company, I don't think that's a bad thing for the company in general.
Not at all.
You know, Triple H taking over. I know what would happen if Triple H starts taking over. He's going to push Kevin Dunn out. I mean, Kevin Dunn might actually be going to prison for insider trading. So he's under investigation too, but he hasn't been forced to leave his position.
My God, we may actually be able to watch.
It
stuff
might
and
actually
not get motion
work.
sickness. Holy shit!
Vince McMahon could be fucking booted. Dunn could be gone. Fucking
Bruce
Laryngitis is already gone.
Bruce Pritchard might get ousted because Triple H had his team that he wanted, and he hired them. Like he had he wanted the guy to be the director of the show, like to replace Kevin Dunn, to be Jeremy Borash. They actually hired Jeremy Borash. That's also the reason why they hired Joseph Parks. Like, he's a backstage agent, and they wanted him to work on the creative team because apparently he's a very creative person.
And if Triple H does get the permanent spot too, he has said himself that he's open to working with other people as well, which we could actually see the real Forbidden Door actually open between.
Oh, that is so tantalizing.
Dude, if that happens, people will lose their fucking mind.
There is no stadium in America that would be big enough to hold that show.
Absolutely.
What
And
an
yet they
AEW
would- they would-
crossover.
Yeah, AEW, WWE, and New Japan, if they do all three of them in one hit,
Jesus
holy
Christ.
fucking shit.
I mean, I think Tony Khan still has a good working relationship with Impact, and WWE seems to have a really good relationship with Impact. So you could see the three major American promotions do a crossover, a Forbidden Door show.
And on top of that, when Y2J, Bryan Danielson, and Mark Henry and Big Show all did their video segments for Cena's anniversary, whatever you want to call it, they actually, AEW approached WWE and they said, yeah, that's fine. So they're already open to working with each other there.
Well, it's Slammiversary last weekend because it was the 20th Slammiversary.
AJ Styles.
Yeah, AJ Styles appeared on there and did a video thing saying, talking about his history in Impact.
So did Samoa Joe from AEW as well, I think.
Yep. And towards the end of his video message, AJ Styles said, I want to thank WWE for letting me do this. They knew how passionate I was about this and about wanting to appear on Slammiversary, and they they were kind enough to say, yeah, go nuts.
Mm.
So if Trips and Steph take over and Vince is out, then it opens the doors for a lot of tantalizing.
Yeah, we may actually see a true evolution of what wrestling can actually be for the people, not just being money hungry, a greedy corporation.
And the thing is, Triple H listens to the fans.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's not people wrestling for an audience of one 70-year or nearly 80-year-old man. It's a company wrestling for the fans.
Exactly, and by a person who has actually wrestled in front of the fans. Don't get me wrong, Vince has wrestled in front of the fans, but not like Triple H has as actual full-on talent.
Yeah, that's his profession is
Exactly.
as a wrestler.
And his passion.
Yeah. It opens a lot of opportunities and just thoughts, happy thoughts of where it could go. But it all just depends if Vince McMahon is guilty. Fuck, I hope he is. Right. So I think that's the end of the episode. We are going to be recording another episode in a couple of days' time. We're not entirely sure when. It all depends on when JB here watches Forbidden Door.
I'll get to it.
So then hopefully we can record an episode on Forbidden Door. I've actually watched it and written down my notes and everything. So I thought it was a really good show. But yeah, so I think this is pretty much us signing off for this episode. Thank you everyone for listening this week. We shall be back with the Forbidden Door episode and then back in another few weeks for SummerSlam.
Yes, we decided to skip Hell in a Cell for it being boring reasons.
Well, we just couldn't make it work.
That too.
I think I was busy and you guys were busy and we just never synced it up.
Oh, it's between an F1 podcast that JB and I do, personal lives. I've got so much going on.
Having a child.
Yeah, you have a child. I'm sorting out my dad's estate and I'm playing in a band and working and being the boss there and everything. And JB's JB.
Doing mystery things. Working and napping and watching football.
And going camping.
Going camping for a week. Yeah, that was good.
Yeah, yeah. But anyway, thank you for tuning in. We will see you soon for the Forbidden Door review.
Mm-hmm.
And then in a few weeks for SummerSlam on behalf of JB and Dr. Seamus and myself. Thank you for tuning in. And for now it is goodbye.
Bye.